the opportunity. My name is Indiana Vivaltini. My number is 478. Here I will explain about nature of leadership. Leadership is a particular influence and the brain for urgent and different and the capacity influence and prove toward the realization of a goals. Later I request to develop a vision of the future and motivation and the vision and nature of divided into three: leadership, comfort, forward, and symmetry from management and leadership. Management are divided macro leader, a grand leader, both PR manager. Leadership very important to manage the ability lead the group to achieve goals. Leader and motivation are closely related. Be addressing motivation, a leader of focus motivation by gathering affordable and unaffordable work investment in the organization. The self in followers equals people willing to follow some who makes in the present later in addition people then follow people they see as mean of achieving the address and that and when.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lutfia. My name 482. I am from Group 3. I want to explain contemporary leadership. The concept of leadership developed along with changing organizational needs. That is, the environmental context in which leadership is practiced influence which approach might be most effective, as well as what types of leadership are most admired by the community. Two approaches are in harmony with posteric leadership. For today is level 5 leadership and interactive leadership. Level 5 executive. Level 4 executive leader. Level 3 competent managers. Level 2 contributing team members. Level 1 highly capable individuals. And 2 interactive leadership. A focus of minimizing personal ambition and developing others is also a hallmark of interactive leadership. Interactive leadership means that leaders support the consequence and collaborative process. More influence comes from a relationship than formal position of power and authority. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunities. My name is Arini Ferdian Belasari. My student number is 484. Here I want to explain about from management to leadership. Management from leadership refer to different quality and skills. Leadership may have for another one quality for another. But ideally, our manager would develop a balance between the quality of managers and leaders. The main difference between management and leadership is one, managers solve problems order and problem solving in the structure and system of extrinsic organization. It's a great that suppliers are paid, customers are billed, product and services are received on time, and so leadership, the another side, vision, creativity, and change, and have the skills and quality. 1 is mind, 2 is rational, 3 is consulting, 4 is precision, 5 is problem solving, 6 is talks minute, 7 is analytical, 8 is structural, and 9 is deliberate, 10 is authoritative, 11 is stabilizing, 12 is position power, and 2 leadership has the right to question the status quo, that's norms that are outdated, counterproductive, or socially irresponsible can be replaced to meet new challenges and have the skills and quality. 1 is soul, 2 is visionary, 3 is passionate, 4 is creative, 5 is flexible, 6 is inspiring, 7 innovative, 8 is imaginative, 9 in experimental, 10 is initiative change, 11 is personal power. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Adrian Gardayogatama. My student number is 493. I will present about leadership traits and behavioral approach. First is leadership traits. Early efforts to understand leadership success focus on the leader traits. Traits are the distinguishing personal characteristic of a leader, such as intelligence, honesty, self-confidence, and even appearance. The early research looked at leaders who had achieved a level of greatness and was referred to as the great man approach. Next is behavioral approach. These two meta-categories are broadly defined behavior categories, were found to be applicable to effective leadership in a variety of situations and time periods. Although they are not the only important leadership behavior. Concern for tasks and concern for people must be shown at some personable level. Important research program and leadership behavior were conducted at Ohio State University, University of Michigan, and University of Texas. Michigan studies. Studies at the Universities of Michigan at about the same time took a different approach by comparing the behavior of effective and ineffective supervisor. The most effective supervisor were those who focus on the subordinates. Human needs to build effective work groups with high performance goals. Next is the leadership grid. Building on the work of the Ohio State and Michigan studies, Blake and Moulton of the University of Texas proposed a two-dimensional theory called the managerial grid, which was later restarted by Blake and McKenzie as the leadership grid.
Thank you for the time. My name is Nuril Azmi and my student ID 569. In here, I will explain contingency approach. Contingency approach is a way of applying concepts from various management streams in real life situations. Well, here there are 4 types of contingency approach. And first, Hersey and Blanchard situational. Hersey and Blanchard situational theory. Situational leadership theory. This theory was developed if the ability of the motive and needs of subordinates varies greatly. A leader must have the sensitive and ability to diagnose in order to be able to read and accept those differences. And number 2, Fletcher's contingency theory. Fletcher's model or contingency theory says that effective group depend on the compatibility between the style of leaders who interact with their subordinates. So what the situation becomes controlling and influences the leader. Leadership will not occur in a social or environmental vacuum. And number 3, matching leader style to the situation. Combining the three situational characteristics yields a variety of leadership situations, ranging from highly favorable to highly unfavorable. And last, substitutes for leadership. The contingency leadership approaches considered so far focus on the leadership style, the subordinates nature, and the situation's characteristic.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Eva, and here I would like to present about charismatic leadership and transformational leadership. First of all, I would like to talk about charismatic leadership. Charisma is a Greek word that means divinely inspired gift or a gift from a god. Weber in 1947 defined charisma as an ability to influence others, but based on a supernatural gift and exceptional power that set his or her apart from ordinary people. Leaders who appear confident about their vision, make self-sacrifices, pay high costs to achieve their vision are more likely to be viewed as charismatic leaders. And for transformational leadership, they are most likely described as one is able to lift followers up from their petty preoccupations and rally around a common purpose to achieve things never thought possible. Transformational leadership is how leaders transforms their team or organization by creating, communicating, and modeling a vision for the organization and inspiring employees to strive for that vision. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to compare the differences between charismatic and transformational leaders. As you can see on the slide, there's a table, and the first one we would like to talk about charismatic leadership trait. They tend to influence followers with his or her personality and charm. And the second one is leaders the head of the show, which means they are the center of the spotlight or attention. And charismatic leaders, they generate extremely intense loyalty, patience, and devotion. And last one is the idolized influence. This is basically the capacity of leader to be a moral and positive role model to their followers. And a good example of this leadership style is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These leaders are known to make the same sacrifices that they want to followers to make. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to talk about the disadvantages from being a charismatic or transformational leadership. I will start from the charismatic one. The first one is addicted to charisma. This could be or could lead to a wrong thing because they can use their influence or their charisma to do inappropriate things. They can be very selfish about it too.
And the second one is followers could be addicted to their leader's charisma too, and this will result to high dependent personalities towards their leaders itself. They will always relate or rely to their leaders and will have a hard time to create their own innovations or to voice their opinions because they are too dependent to their leaders. And the third one is forgetting the purpose, which means they are too self-centered. Moving on to the transformational leadership, they tend to be a not detail-oriented leaders because they are focusing on a long-term vision through inspiration. Hence, they might miss the minute details or small details. Too much patience and motivation can sometimes disrupt logical thinking. And lastly, transformational leaders can sometimes be bad for companies as team members are too engaged with the team leaders and lose focus on the company goals. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Muhammad Haikal and my last three name is 657 from group 3. In here I'd like to present about followership. No discussion of leadership is complete without a consideration of followership. Leadership matters, but without effective followers, no organization can survive. Leaders can develop an understanding of their followers and how to help them be most effective. Understanding difference in followers can improve one's effectiveness as both a follower and a leader. One model of followership is illustrated by Robert E. Kelly, which are categorized according to two dimensions. The first dimension is the quality of independent critical thinking versus dependent uncritical thinking, and the second dimension of follower style is active versus passive behavior. The extent to which an individual is active or passive and is a critical independent thinker or a dependent uncritical thinker determines whether the person will be in 5 types of followers. They are 1. Alienated followers, 2. Passive followers, 3. Conformist, 4. A pragmatic survivor, and the 5 is effective followers. The first is the alienated followers is a passive yet independent critical thinker. Alienated employees are often effective followers who have experienced setback or obstacles, perhaps performance promise broken by their superiors. Thus, they are capable, but they focus exclusively on the shortcoming of their boss. The second is the conformist participates actively in a relationship with the boss but doesn't use critical thinking skills. The conformist participates willingly but without considering the consequence of what he or she is being asked to do, even at the risk of contributing to a harmful endeavor. The three is the pragmatic survivor has qualities all four extreme depending of which style fits with the prevalent situation. This type of person use whatever style best benefit his or her own position and minimize risks. The fourth is the passive followers exhibits neither critical, independent thinking nor active participation. Being passive and uncritical, these people show neither initiative nor a sense of responsibility. Their activity is limited to what they are told to do, and they accomplish things only with a great deal of supervision. Passive followers leave the thinking to the boss. And the last is the effective followers, is both a critical, independent thinker and active in organization. Effective followers behave the same toward everyone, regardless of their position in organization. They develop an equitable relationship with their leaders and do not try to avoid risks or conflict. These people are capable to self-management. They discern strengths and weakness in themselves and their boss. They are committed to something bigger than themselves and they work toward company and solution and positive impact. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Elvita Ayudiani. Here, I will continue my friend's presentation. I will explain about power. Power is the potential ability to influence the behavior of others. Various kinds of power, namely 1. Position power. If the traditional manager's power comes from the organization. 2. Legitimate power. Coming from a formal management position in an organization and the authority granted to it is called legitimate power. 3. Reward power. Power that results from the authority to bestow rewards on other people. Managers may have access to formal rewards. 4. Coercive power. The opposite of reward is coercive power. It refers to the authority to punish or recommend punishment. 5. Personal power. In contrast to the external source of position powers, personal power most often comes from internal sources, such as an individual's special knowledge or personal characteristics. 6. Expert power. Power results from a person's special knowledge or skill regarding the task being performed is referred to as expert power. 7. Referent power comes from an individual's personal characteristic that command others identification, respect, and admiration, so they wish to emulate that individual. 8. Other sources of power. There are external sources of power that are not linked to a particular person or position, but rather to the role an individual plays in the overall functioning of the organization. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Farah Alia with the lesson 703 from Manajemen S1. I will present influence leadership. Influence have meaning the effect of one the party agent on another target. The agent in question is a person who influence and the target is the person affected. We all know that influence is at the core of leadership, so that someone can become an effective leader. How leaders use their power to implement education and efficiently change? The answer is leaders often use a combination of influence strategies and people who are perceived as having greater power. There are these different techniques people use to influence others. However, these techniques fall into basic categories that rely on understanding the principle that cause people to change their behavior and attitude. The first, use rational persuasion. The most frequently used influence strategy is to use fact, data, and logical argument to persuade others that a proposed idea, request, or education is appropriate. Because most people have faith in fact, that is, in addition to fact and figures, people also have to believe in the leaders. The second, make people like you. People would rather say yes to someone they like than to someone they don't. Effective leader strive to create goodwill and favorable impression. When a leader shows consideration and respect, treats people fairly, and demonstrates trust in others, people are more likely to want to help and support the leader by doing what he or she asks. The third, rely on the rule of reciprocity. A leader can influence others through the exchange of benefit and favors. Leaders who do favors for others can accept that others will do favors for them in return. Before develop allies, effective leader develop network of allies, people who can help the leader accomplish his or her goals. Example, leader talk with followers and other outside of formal meetings to understand their need and concern, as well as to explain the problem and describe the leader point of view. The fifth, ask for what you want. Another way to influence others is to make a direct and personal request. Leaders have to be explicit about what they want, or they are likely to get it. The sixth, make us of higher authority. Sometimes to get things done, leaders have to use the formal authority, as well as gain the support of people at higher levels to back them up. Managers who become known for their expertise, who are honest and straightforward with others, and who inspire trust can exert greater influence. And the last, reward the behavior you want. Leaders can also use organizational rewards and punishment to influence others' behavior. Leaders should not rely solely on reward and punishment as a means for influencing others, but combine with other tactics that involve the use of personal power. Rewards can be highly effective. So, people rate leaders more effective when they are required to use a variety of influence tactics, but not all managers use influence in the same way. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you. Next will be explained with my friend.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Anggitri Wahyuni and my student number is 707. In here, I will present about leadership as service. Two timeless leadership approaches that are gaining renewed attention in today's environment of ethical scandals and weakened employee trust. Characteristics of servant leadership and moral leadership can be successfully used by leaders in all situations to make a positive difference. 1. Servant leadership. A leader will work to fulfill subordinate needs and goals as well as to achieve the organization's large mission. Some leaders operate from the assumption that work exists for the development of the worker as much as the worker exists to do the work. 2. Moral leadership. Distinguishing right from wrong and choosing to do right in the practice of leadership, because leadership can be used for good or evil, to help or to harm others. All leadership has a moral component. That's all presentation for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.